The marketplace hummed with voices, each one blending into the chaotic symphony of the digital age. Buddha sat beneath a tree, his posture serene and composed, untouched by the ceaseless noise surrounding him. Disciples gathered, their faces marked with signs of exhaustion, eyes burdened by the glow of countless screens. One disciple, Aditya, stepped forward, his voice carrying the weight of despair and confusion. "Master," he began, "our minds are overwhelmed, drowning in the flood of notifications, messages, and endless distractions. What can we do?" Buddha's eyes met Aditya's, a quiet stillness radiating from his presence, as if time itself had paused. "Aditya," Buddha said, his voice calm and measured, "imagine a jar filled with rocks, pebbles, and sand. What happens if you pour sand first?" The disciples exchanged glances, unsure of the answer, their minds still tangled in the web of their daily lives. "The jar cannot hold the rocks," Aditya finally responded, his voice hesitant but curious. Buddha nodded, his gaze steady and kind. "Precisely," he said, "the rocks represent your most important focus, the foundations of your existence. Place them first." "It is calm and undisturbed," Buddha nodded, his voice deliberate. "Now, imagine casting a handful of pebbles into it. This is simplicity." Aditya frowned, his brow furrowing with doubt. "But Master," he said, "how do we determine what our rocks are in a world filled with endless demands?" Buddha smiled gently, a faint curve of his lips that seemed to hold infinite understanding. "The rocks are what you value most," he said. "The people you love, the peace within, the purpose you seek." Buddha extended his hand, palm open, as if holding something unseen yet profoundly significant. "Focus on these, Aditya," he said, "and let the rest find its place around them." Simplicity is clarity. The air seemed to grow quieter, the cacophony of the marketplace fading into the background, overtaken by the weight of Buddha's words. Another disciple, Mira, spoke up, her voice tinged with urgency. "Master," she said, "we try to focus, but the digital world pulls us back into its storm." Kamala's brows furrowed, her voice uncertain. "Master, how do we distinguish between mindful use and attachment that entraps us?" Buddha leaned forward slightly, his gaze warm yet penetrating. "Kamala, ask yourself, with each use, does this lead to peace or unrest?" The forest grew quieter, the disciples reflecting deeply. To calm one, calm the other. Mira tilted her head, her confusion evident, as she sought to grasp the meaning hidden in Buddha's words. "But how, Master?" she asked, her voice both curious and pleading. Buddha gestured toward a bowl of water that sat nearby, its surface shimmering with faint ripples. "Observe this water," Buddha said, "and see how its surface settles when left undisturbed. Such is the mind." The disciples watched in silence, their gazes fixed on the water. As the ripples began to still, reflecting the calm sky above, "Your mind is no different," Buddha said, "a vessel that reflects the clarity you allow it to hold." The disciples dispersed, each finding a quiet space within the forest. Ananda sat beneath a young banyan tree, the tablet left behind on the ground. A young boy, perhaps the youngest among the disciples, stepped forward hesitantly, his voice soft and unsure. "Master," he asked, "what if the world does not let us find peace? What then?" Buddha regarded the boy with a tenderness that seemed to radiate like the sun, warming all who stood near. "The world is neither your enemy nor your ally," Buddha said. "It is simply the stage upon which your life unfolds." The boy frowned slightly, his expression filled with both curiosity and the natural skepticism of youth. Kamala, meanwhile, found solace in the songs of the birds and the rustling leaves. She missed the glowing orb she had once cherished but began to feel lighter without its presence. On the seventh day, the disciples gathered once more beneath the ancient tree. Buddha greeted them with a serene smile, his hands resting gently in his lap. "Speak, my children," he invited. "What have you discovered in this time of quietude?" Ananda spoke first, his voice steady but reflective. "Master, I saw how the tablet had become a chain. In silence, I found freedom I didn't know I craved." Kamala followed, her tone tinged with wonder. "Simplicity is not found," Buddha said. "It is created, carved from the chaos by your choices and intentions." His words hung in the air, resonating deeply, as if they carried a truth that was both eternal and immediate. "How do we begin, Master?" Aditya asked, his voice steady yet filled with the weight of the question. "Begin," Buddha said, "by choosing one moment, one act, one thought, and allowing it to be fully present and clear. Its place is to serve, not rule my time." Kamala nodded in agreement. "I will return the orb to its giver." As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting long shadows across the marketplace, Buddha stood. His presence was both quiet and commanding, a paradox that seemed to embody the essence of his teachings. "Go now," Buddha said, his voice soft yet firm, "and place your rocks first, the rest will follow." As it always does, so it is with the mind. The disciples sat quietly, absorbing his teachings as the forest seemed to breathe in unison with their newfound clarity. And so, the marketplace remained, its chaos undiminished, yet somehow less overwhelming, as if touched by an unseen hand. Buddha watched them go, his expression serene, his presence a reminder that simplicity is not the absence of noise, but the mastery of it. Another day, another gathering under the shade of the Bodhi tree. The disciples arrived, their faces reflecting the passage of time. They carried questions, doubts, and reflections, seeking answers to the challenges still lingering in their lives. Buddha sat cross-legged, his presence like the stillness of a mountain, unmoved by the currents swirling around him. Mira was the first to speak, her voice carrying a tone of urgency. "Master, we have begun to simplify our lives, yet the world constantly pulls us back into its chaos." Buddha nodded slowly, his gaze calm and penetrating, as though he could see beyond the words themselves. "The pull of the world," Buddha said, "is strong, but your anchor within can be stronger. Let me show you." He gestured toward the pond nearby, its surface shimmering in the sunlight, the water rippling softly as a breeze passed through. Buddha bent forward and plucked a lotus flower from the pond, holding it delicately in his hands. "This lotus," Buddha began, "grows from the mud below, yet it rises above, untouched and pure. You must do the same." Mira tilted her head slightly, her curiosity deepening, as she observed the lotus flower and the profound symbolism it carried. She looked down. Buddha gestured toward the orb, his expression calm as the still pond nearby. "Embrace the world, but rise above it." The disciples leaned in closer, their attention sharpening, as if Buddha's words were clearing the fog within their minds. Aditya spoke next, his voice steady but tinged with hesitation. "Master, the temptation remains. The digital world beckons with promises of productivity, connection, and endless possibilities. How do we resist?" Buddha extended the lotus toward Aditya, as if inviting him to look deeper into its essence. "Aditya," Buddha said, "resistance is not the answer. Instead, mastery is." "Master, does this mean such things must be avoided entirely to preserve peace within?" Buddha turned to him, his expression serene yet instructive. "Ananda, nothing in this world is inherently to be avoided or embraced without mindfulness." Buddha continued, his tone unwavering yet gentle, like the steady flow of a river carving its path through the earth. "Let your intentions guide you," Buddha said, "not the endless tide of distractions. Choose clarity over chaos, purpose over noise." Aditya nodded slowly, his thoughts turning inward, as if Buddha's words had planted a seed within his mind. Another disciple, Kavi, spoke up, his voice carrying a tone of doubt. Master, what if clarity eludes us? What if simplicity seems beyond our reach? Buddha turned his gaze toward Kavi, his expression unwavering yet filled with warmth, as though he could see the struggles within Kavi's heart. Kavi, Buddha said, simplicity is not a place you find. It is a path you create, step by step, choice by choice. Buddha continued, Kamala, I ask you to carry this orb for 30 days, observing how it shapes your thoughts and time. Kamala nodded, accepting the challenge. Buddha gestured toward the pond once more, the lotus flower still cradled in his hands. Begin as the lotus does, Buddha said, by rising 1 inch above the mud, then another, until you are free. His words resonated deeply, as the disciples reflected on their habits, their choices, and the moments where they could begin anew. Maya, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward hesitantly, her voice soft but filled with determination. Master, she asked, what if the people around us pull us back into the chaos? How do we stay grounded? Buddha regarded Maya with a tenderness that seemed to radiate like the sun, warming all who stood near. Maya, Buddha said, the winds may blow, but the tree remains rooted. Kamala stepped forward, the orb held firmly in her hands, and placed it before Buddha. Master, Kamala said, her voice steady and resolute, I understand now that this orb reflects the restlessness within me. Buddha's gaze softened, his voice as soothing as the river's flow. Kamala, you have seen how the external mirrors the internal, revealing the nature of our attachments. Ananda spoke, his tone seeking understanding. Master, what then is the role of such objects in our lives if they so easily bind us? Buddha looked at his disciples, his expression calm yet encouraging. Simplicity, Buddha said, is not found in the absence of chaos. It is created in the midst of it, by your choices. His words hung in the air, resonating deeply, as though they carried a truth that was both eternal and immediate. How do we begin, Master? Mira asked, her voice steady yet filled with the weight of the question. Begin, Buddha said, by choosing one moment, one act, one thought, and allowing it to be fully present and clear. The disciples fell silent, their thoughts turning inward, as though Buddha's words had ignited a flame within their minds. The air felt charged with possibility, the kind of stillness that precedes transformation, like the calm before the dawn, as the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting long shadows across the pond. Buddha stood. His presence was both quiet and commanding, a paradox that seemed to embody the essence of his teachings. Go now, Buddha said, his voice soft yet firm, and rise above the mud, inch by inch. As the sun set behind the trees, the forest bathed in golden hues. The disciples felt a profound peace settle within them. They left the gathering, carrying Buddha's wisdom as a guide to navigate the complexities of their modern world. They turned away, their steps lighter, their gazes clearer, as though simplicity itself had begun to walk beside them. And so, the Bodhi tree remained, its shade undiminished, yet somehow more comforting, as though touched by an unseen hand. Buddha watched them go, his expression serene, his presence a reminder that simplicity is not the absence of noise, but the mastery of it. Another day, another sunrise painting the skies with soft hues. The disciples gathered, their faces brightened with hope and resolve. They had journeyed through months of transformation, simplicity slowly becoming the cornerstone of their existence. Buddha awaited them, his presence like the still waters of a lake, unshaken by the winds of change. Aditya was the first to speak, his voice carrying a quiet certainty. Master, simplicity has transformed us, yet the world outside remains filled with chaos. Kamala, Wisdom is not preserved in isolation but flourishes when practiced amidst life's intricate patterns. A soft breeze stirred the leaves, carrying the scent of blooming jasmine. As the disciples listened intently, "You must walk the middle path." The disciples exchanged glances, their expressions filled with a blend of curiosity and trust in Buddha's wisdom. Mira stepped forward, her voice reflecting both confidence and inquiry. "Master," she asked, "what is the middle path? How do we walk it without losing ourselves in the extremes of the world?" Buddha extended his hand toward the rising sun, its rays casting long shadows across the gathering. "Mira," Buddha said, "the middle path is balance. Neither rejecting the chaos nor being consumed by it." The air grew quieter, as though the very universe had paused to listen to Buddha's words. "You must integrate simplicity into the noise," Buddha said, "allowing clarity to be your anchor amidst the storm." Mira nodded slowly, her thoughts aligning with the profound teachings that Buddha shared. Kavi spoke next, his voice steady but filled with reflective thought. "Master, simplicity has brought clarity, but the journey seems endless. This pebble," Buddha began, "rests in the river, yet its weight anchors it. What do you learn from this?" Ananda studied the pebble, replying thoughtfully, "Master, it remains steady because it does not resist the flow, nor does it drift with it. Each step you take deepens the roots of clarity." Kavi frowned slightly, his thoughts swirling, as he tried to grasp the meaning hidden in Buddha's words. "But how do we maintain our focus?" Kavi asked, his voice both curious and earnest. "Maintain your focus," Buddha said, "by embracing each moment as it is, not as you wish it to be." His words resonated deeply, as the disciples reflected on the power of presence and the value of simplicity in their lives. Maya stepped forward hesitantly, her voice filled with quiet strength. Kamala raised another question, her voice tinged with hope. "Master, can balance truly be sustained? Or is it a fleeting state, easily disrupted?" Buddha's eyes sparkled, his tone serene yet resolute. "Your clarity will inspire others." Even silently, the disciples began to murmur among themselves, their voices mingling like the currents of a river, flowing toward newfound understanding. The forest grew silent, save for the rustling leaves and distant call of a bird. As the disciples pondered his teachings, Buddha's voice softened, guiding them deeper into reflection. "When you hold your tablets or orbs, do so with purpose, not passivity. Engage with them as tools, not masters. Let it be a light." His words hung in the air, resonating deeply, as though they carried a truth that was both eternal and immediate. "How do we become this light?" Mira asked, her voice steady yet filled with the weight of the question. "Become the light," Buddha said, "by living your truth fully, allowing your clarity to shine naturally, touching the lives of others." Kamala's eyes glistened, her voice firm with resolve. "Master, I choose to live with intention, using tools only when they serve my journey toward peace." As the sun climbed higher, casting golden hues over the gathering, Buddha stood. His presence was both quiet and commanding, a paradox that seemed to embody the essence of his teachings. "Go now," Buddha said, his voice soft yet firm, "and walk the middle path. Let your clarity inspire others." Buddha's presence was steady as the ancient tree above, grounding them in the truth of the middle path. The sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the forest floor, a reminder of time's ceaseless flow. And so, the Bodhi tree remained, its shade undiminished, yet somehow more comforting, as though touched by an unseen hand. Buddha watched them go, his expression serene, his presence a reminder that peace is not the absence of noise, but the mastery of it. His teachings rippled outward, like the pebbles waves upon the river, touching lives near and far. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.